The 1960s and 1970s birthed the American muscle car scene, a beloved American pastime for those who enjoy learning about the different car specs and a hobby for collectors who can afford it. This era of power created some of the rarest and most iconic muscle cars, packing giant torque-rich V8s the world has ever seen. 1971, Plymouth Hemi Cuda. It seems kinda weird that the 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda has the slowest top speed here, considering it could smoke every production muscle car, including the rest of the MOPARs on this list, in the quarter mile. It was rated at 117 miles per hour. In any case, nobody ever lined up against the fearsome Hemi Cuda and felt good about their chances. The third-generation Barracuda was restyled on the Dodge Challenger E-body platform, but didn't share any sheet metal with its MOPAR cousin. Of course, power ran in the family, and no car better utilized the 426 Hemi's impressive horsepower and torque. 1969 Plymouth Barracuda. There's a 100% chance that nobody would have needed more than 118 miles per hour in a quarter-mile race back in the day, but it's almost comical that Plymouth capped the Barracudas in this range. Muscle car love owners, to brag about things their rides will never do, and having a 160 miles per hour speedometer would have been a source of pride. With a 118 miles per hour top speed rating, the second generation 1969 Plymouth Barracuda was fast as hell, and did it with a 440 Super Commando as the 426. Hemi wasn't yet available for the model. 1969 was the last year the Barracuda would bear any resemblance to the Plymouth Valiant from which it was born, and the first year that the high-performance Cuda package was available. 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. 6 years after Ford introduced the Mustang, Dodge finally got around to producing their own car with the 1970 Challenger. They packed it with way more ponies, however, creating one of the fastest muscle cars ever built. The Challenger was supposed to be a luxury vehicle and came with an insane number of trims, options, and possibly configurations, but they all added up to a kick-ass ride. The performance trim was the RT, which had 383, 440, 446-pack, and 426 Hemi engine options. The Hemi was the one to get for any serious street racer, and in fact, the legendary Black Ghost was packing the 426. For those who may find themselves in the world's most obscure automotive trivia contest, the first use of the Challenger name was with the Silver Challenger trim package on the 1959 Coronet. Top speed was rated at 134 miles per hour. 1968 Dodge Charger RT. There is no car more associated with the classic muscle car era than the second-generation Dodge Charger. After a rocky introduction in 1966 with a rather goofy-looking fastback, the redesigned 1968 wasn't just a hit, it was an icon. With aggressive styling and scary powerful engine options, it became the archetype of what a muscle car is. Dodge had planned on making around 35,000 new 68 Chargers, but ended up selling nearly 100,000 because it was the car every speed demon had to have. The RT was the top performance trim for 1968, and when equipped with the optional 426 Hemi, was the most unbeatable thing on the streets. It was also the fastest classic MOPAR muscle car and a true legend of the era, making it the best of the best. 1964 Plymouth Sport Fury Max Wedge. After recovering from a mild recession in 1958, the economy was getting back on track. Jobs were plentiful. Wages were high enough for a milkman to afford a home and a decent vehicle. The automotive industry was booming back in 1964. Ford was on the verge of releasing its legendary Mustang. Chevy had improved its outstanding Corvette. However, not everybody could afford a brand new Mustang or Corvette. Plymouth was known for being on the lowest end of the spectrum. As a result, no one would have ever expected Chrysler to equip some Plymouth cars with some of the best engines available back then. The Fury Max Wedge is the type of classic MOPAR car gearhead that can be modified into monsters, as it originally comes with the classic 426 cubic inches Max Wedge V8 that is rated at 425 horsepower at 5,600 revolutions per minute and 480 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 revolutions per minute. 1970 Chrysler 300 Hurst. Every domestic automotive giant has segmented its portfolio. At Chrysler, it is not a secret that Plymouth was the affordable brand. It was never meant to be something that could rival Dodge or Chrysler. On the other side of the spectrum sits Chrysler. Only rivaled by Lincoln and Cadillac, Chrysler made sure to produce luxurious vehicles that were not necessarily meant to be fast. Comfort and status were far more important to potential buyers. While cars such as the Charger and the Cuda were busy doing burnouts at the nearest illegal street race, the Chrysler 300 Hearst was pulling up to the country club with class. Despite not being as virulent as other Chrysler Group cars, the 300 Hearst is still rocking a potent 440 cubic inches RB-V8 that makes 375 horsepower at 4,600 revolutions per minute and 480 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 revolutions per minute. 1970 Buick GS Stage 1. The 1970 Buick GS Stage 1 made a significant impact in the muscle car realm, securing a notable fourth-place position in terms of performance. Often regarded as a more refined option compared to some of its competitors, the GS Stage 1 surprised many with its impressive speed and acceleration. In the January 1970 issue of Motor Trend magazine, a 1970 Buick GS Stage 1 achieved a quarter-mile time of 13.38 seconds at a speed of 105.5 miles per hour. These figures highlighted its strong performance capabilities, showcasing its competitiveness among the top-performing muscle cars of the era. 1970 Ford Torino Cobra. The 1970 Ford Torino Cobra 429 SCJ holds its ground as a prominent contender, claiming the seventh-place spot among the fastest muscle cars of the era. With its formidable 429 Cobra jet engine, the Torino Cobra delivered notable performance and a strong presence in the muscle car segment. In the March 1970 issue of Superstock and Drag Illustrated magazine, a 1970 Ford Torino 429 SCJ achieved a quarter-mile time of 13.63 seconds while traveling at a speed of 105.9 miles per hour. These performance figures highlighted its strong acceleration and competitive speed, securing its place among the top-performing muscle cars of its time. 1970 Oldsmobile 442. The 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30-455 was a formidable muscle car renowned for its powerful 455 cubic inch V8 engine and high-performance capabilities. This car stood out among its peers due to the specialized W30 package, which elevated its performance to impressive levels. In the April 1970 issue of popular Hot Rodding magazine, a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30 recorded a quarter-mile time of 13.89 seconds while traveling at a speed of 101.1 miles per hour. These impressive performance figures highlighted its remarkable acceleration and competitive speed, further solidifying its position among the elite muscle cars of its time. 1967 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. The 1969 ZL1 is one of the rarest of muscle cars and one of the most powerful and best remembered. With 500 horses in an aluminum V8 engine and a top speed of 125 miles, 201 kilometers per hour, the ZL1 could hit 60 in about 5.3 seconds and run the quarter mile in 13.16. Of only 69 models made, most of them found their way into drag racing, and this powerful package option wasn't offered again. What could get you $18,000 in 2001 has since leapt to $91,000 among the highest rolling collectors. If you found today's video informative, please show your support by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and turning on notifications for future updates. Let us know your opinions in the comments section below.